Janice, we'll do a roll call, please.
John Whipple.
Present.
Jim Pruitt.
Here.
Ed Winger.
Here.
John Dooley.
Here.
Bill Ernstis.
Here. Any changes to the, other than the fact I got the wrong month and date down at the top of it, changes to the agenda? Gary, you mentioned Brack Rayles wanted to be on the agenda. Is it? Okay.
That could just go under comments from more public, though, right?
Yeah.
All right.
Okay. Anybody see any other changes, or any other changes be made to the agenda? I take a motion to accept the agenda as changed.
So moved.
Got a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Janice, would you please read the minutes of last meeting, please?
The meeting of the Greensburg Board of Aviation Commissioners convened on Monday, January 25th, 2010 at 7 p.m. Members present were Bill Ernstis, John Dooley, Ed Winger, and Jim Pruitt. Mr. Trivett was also present. The meeting was called to order by President Bill Ernstis. Mr. John Whipple was introduced. Mayor Gary Herbert swore Mr. Whipple in as new member of the Greensburg Board of Aviation Commissioners. The election of officers for 2010 was held. Motion 22010, Jim moved to nominate Bill Ernstis for president. John seconded, and roll call was unanimous. Motion 22110, Ed moved to close the nominations. With John second, the roll call was unanimous. Bill Ernstis is president for 2010. In motion 22210, Ed moved to nominate John Dooley for vice president. Jim seconded, and roll call was unanimous. Motion 22310, Ed moved to close the nominations. With John second, the roll call was unanimous. John Dooley is vice president for 2010. The agenda was presented. Bureau Hall was added under old business, and Skydive was added under new business. Indiana grants and JCB loan were removed from new business. Motion 22410, Jim moved to approve the agenda with the noted changes. Ed seconded, and the motion was carried. The December 2009 minutes were reviewed. Motion 22510, Jim moved to approve the minutes as read. John seconded, and the motion was carried. Old business. Bill noted Gerald's passing. He spoke of Gerald's work with the airport and the city of Greensburg. In honor of Gerald's life and dedication to the success of the airport, Bill suggested that the terminal building or pilot's lounge be named in memory of Gerald. Bill asked for a couple of members to write the resolution. Jim stated that the entire building be named and not just the pilot's lounge. Mayor Gary Herbert noted that the cost of a plaque is covered. In motion 22610, with honor, Ed moved for John, Ed, and Jim to write the resolution and give the plaque. John seconded, and the motion was carried. New business. Bob Doherty requested to use the existing runway for takeoffs once the new one has been constructed. The board responded that the existing runway will become the taxiway for hangars. Don Manley announced that the ALP has been formally approved by FAA as of January 25th. In motion 22710, Jim moved to recognize and sign the final approved ALP. John seconded, and roll call was unanimous. This is the first step to get the proper funding and allows FAA to review the environmental study. The next step is for the environmental study to be approved, which should be complete in approximately 6 months. The ALP is listed in detail and is available to the public. The bill packet was presented to the board. A $50.02 Verizon bill was added to the list. In motion 22810, John moved to approve and pay the bills as presented with the one addition. Ed seconded, and roll call was unanimous. John commented that Gerald was a great loss. He also noted the great strides Gerald made in the history of Greensburg's airport, and Jim agreed. John also wanted to welcome new member John Whipple to the board. In motion 22910, Ed moved to adjourn the meeting. Jim seconded, and the meeting was dismissed. The next scheduled meeting is February 22nd at 10 p.m. That's 7 p.m.
Anybody see any changes or corrections that need to be made?
Well, I have one question. It says Don Manley announced the ALP has been formally approved. Should that be formerly or formally?
Formally. Any other changes? I accept the motion to accept.
I make a motion to accept with that word change.
Second.
Okay. Roll call vote again, please.
Don,
Yes.
Jim,
Yes.
Ed,
Yes.
John,
Yes.
and Bill.
Yes. Okay, moving on, old business. Skydive.
This will be new business, I guess.
Okay.
I know this has been an unusual year for snow, but when the city did come out and do some plowing, they used our hangar as a backstop for all the snow, which makes it impossible to get into our hangar. Wonder if there's something to be done in the future so that rather than make our hangar inaccessible, push it somewhere else out of the.
We'll do what's necessary to take care of for you.
We've got a lot of work that needs to be done, and we're at a standstill. We can't get the hangar doors or get to them to work.
We're working on one more snow. Anything else, Bob?
Nope.
Okay, under new business, I'd like permission from the board to sign off the AIP for the land improvements phase 4, the grant that we've received everything on. I'd like if you all would give me permission to sign it off and clear it.
Is that different than what we had last week?
I think it's a different.
Okay.
This is okay.
Okay. Explain a little bit about it.
Go ahead.
Let's do it.
The grant program financial completion is what the letter is requesting. When you're financially complete with a project, and this is phase 4, the ALP update, then we ask the board to sign off formally to send it to the FAA so that the FAA can close the project. It's just a formality in closing the project. You received or should have received, I didn't verify myself, but you should have received all of the funding out of that project, which was about $106,000, recollection. Not the exact number, but it's around $106,000.
That's for the acquisition of the old
And
airport.
so it's just a formality to close that grant. It's not closing the project per se, it's just phase 4. There's several other items that are ahead of that, like the environmental process.
Is this Bill signs this alone, is that correct? So he needs our permission to sign?
Yes, Bill's the only one that's necessary to sign the letter and sign it in the form itself.
If there's no other discussion, I'll move that we grant Bill the authority to sign that on behalf of the board.
Do I have a second?
Also,
Roll call, vote, Jan, please.
Don,
yes.
Jim,
Yes.
Ed,
Yes.
John,
Yes.
and Bill.
Yes. Okay, next thing on the agenda is approval of the packet paid bills. And did y'all, Ed, did you see it on the internet?
Yes, I did.
Yeah, that's great.
You sent it under Excel this time.
Bill, just a point of reference.
Yes, sir.
For a point of order, is, did we just skip, did we skip over Merrill, or did you take that out?
Oh, yeah, matter of fact, John and I talked about that too.
Yeah, we'll bring a resolution to the table next week and try to have our plans all in place by then. Yeah. So it's a work in progress.
Sorry about that.
Yeah.
I did go out and visit Garrett the other day, though. So. Back to the bills. Not a whole lot came out apparently in January, but we'll probably have quite a few more, especially the utilities come next month.
There's not too many utilities on here, is it?
Not too many, just one.
One, right?
Yeah, and then one for Holdings.
Yeah. I'll move we accept the bills as listed.
Second. Roll call vote, Janice, please.
Don,
Yes.
Jim,
Yes.
Ed,
Yes.
John,
Yes.
and Bill.
Yes. And they're over here to be signed.
Oh, good.
Okay. Last thing on is the comments from board and the public. Mr. Brack. Come up to stand, please. Could you give us your name and your residence? And are you bringing anything new to us? You are. Okay. Can you limit your time to say 5 minutes?